A South Carolina conservative that refused to sign up for the health care law in the state is now going broke and blind. And he blames not Nikki Haley, governor of South Carolina, that didn't want to expand Medicaid, which he would be eligible for, but instead he wanted to blame Obama. Now, who is this guy and what's his story? Alright, well, Louis Lang is this man, and he learned in late February that he had suffered a series of mini strokes. Now that left him with bleeding in his eyes, a partially detached retina caused by diabetes, and this was all reported by the Charlotte Observer. So these are some obvious health problems, right? So, well, why didn't he get it taken care of? Well, it turns out he's self-employed and never bought insurance. Oh, here we go. Now, he's a self-employed handyman and a Republican, staunch conservative, who worked with banks and the federal government to maintain foreclosed properties. So he would take care of properties that have been foreclosed by the banks. He'd go in, probably clean them up, fix them up, you know, all that stuff, make them look nice so that someone will eventually buy them. Okay. Now, he had never purchased insurance and had always prided himself on paying his own medical bills. Well, okay, so this is sort of an interesting thing. He considers himself a self-made man and a responsible American who doesn't get insurance because he doesn't want other people to pay for his medical bills. Well, paying for your insurance, what do you think the premium's there for? You pay a premium so that you're covered. That is you paying into your own medical bills. And it also gives you a buffer. It's called insurance because it ensures that if you run into a medical problem that you can't pay out of pocket, that you don't go fucking broke. Well, Mr. Lang didn't consider that idea. I'm not going to buy insurance. Why would I? I'm healthy. And that's exactly what he was doing. Now, that, according to the article in Raw Story, that never posed much of a problem when Lang and his wife, who stays home, doesn't work, were healthy, but he has already exhausted his savings paying for medical bills related to his eyes. His vision has worsened so much that he can no longer work. He hasn't worked since December, which of course could put his $300,000 home that he paid for in jeopardy. Okay, so he had a savings, and his medical bills related to his eyes, he burned through them, and now he can't work because of those same medical bills. Well, once again, I thought insurance would be helpful here. And after that happened, he actually got the message. He basically first sought help from charities. Well, I'm not going to go for Obamacare. I'm not going to sign up for that crap. I'm going to go and beg the church for help. I'm going to go and get the charities for help. Remember, that's the Republican thing. Well, if you have health care, the charities will take care of you. Right? If we repeal the health care law, don't worry. Charities will come in, they'll fill the gap for people who can't afford to pay their medical bills. For example, Mr. Lang. Well, it turns out he was turned away by many of those charities. He was either too old or not old enough. Fascinating. So most of these agencies weren't able to help. Now his doctor, to the doctor's credit, the doctor did all he could to try and mitigate the cost, keep the cost down so that he could afford it. He worked with him, did everything that he could. But the cost and the surgery that he needs to fix his eyesight and to keep from going blind is out of his expertise. He can't do it. So he turned to Obamacare. Grudgingly, of course. He believed that, just like a charity, I could sign up for Obamacare, get everything fixed, because it's an emergency. Well, they'll have to help me. It's government takeover of healthcare. Well, they're going to have to help me, right? Well, that's not how it works. Obamacare is not government healthcare, for one, and it's not available in an emergency. There's a special sign-up period. Well, he missed that by about a month. And Mary Lang, his wife, says, my husband should be at the front of this line because he doesn't work and he has medical issues. We call it the Not Fair Act. the Not Fair Act. Well, that's kind of what happens when you miss your enroll date. Now, he would be eligible for Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act. But as I mentioned before, South Carolina, they decided not to extend Medicaid to people, which would have helped Mr. Lang. Now, the sad thing about this is that he doesn't look at that. He instead looks at the law as a whole and says, "Thanks, Obama." Wow. They blame President Obama and congressional Democrats for passing a flawed law. Although not even private insurers allow people to forego payments when they're healthy and cash benefits after they're sick. So, that's very sad. And he's also set up a fundraiser in order to try to make enough money for surgery. I feel bad about this guy. I do. I do feel bad. I am of the person, and I've seen a lot of this on in the comments and stories. Oh, you get what you deserve. In some respects, yeah. I understand that, but at the same time, I believe that every American should have health care. I believe it is a right to have health care, whether you like it or not. And whether or not you politically agree with me, I still want you to have health care. It is a fundamental human right. Now, Mr. Lang disagreed. That's sad to see, but with Republican rhetoric and being in a southern conservative state, I can kind of understand how he would come to that conclusion. When the media lies to you about what's in the healthcare law, and you don't actually sign up for it to understand that, oh hey, there's actually benefits in getting insurance through this law, I can understand why you would arrive at the conclusions that you arrived to. Does it suck? Yes. Should he blame Obama? Of course not. Look, the whole crux of this thing and his issues with the Affordable Care Act, it could have been mitigated had we gone with a single payer system, a Medicare for all. That way you wouldn't have to worry about sign-up dates. You wouldn't have to worry about copay. You wouldn't have to worry about any of this stuff. It comes out of your taxes, you automatically get it. Whether you like it or not, you'll have insurance. So you don't end up like Mr. Lang. As far as his case goes, as I said, I feel bad for the guy because I think that it's just ignorance. Willful, I'm not sure. Is it willful ignorance? I don't know. But it's ignorance nonetheless. And it is ignorant to go and blame Obama for the position that you obviously put yourself in by not getting insurance in the first place when it was available to you through the subsidies. Now you no longer make enough money to get a subsidy because you don't make any money and you can't get Medicaid because of a Republican governor. Once again, you put yourself in that position. I feel sorry for you. I wish the law were different. Then again, that would mean actually having a single payer government healthcare solution, which unfortunately, to people like Mr. Lang, is socialism, and we shouldn't have anything like that. So, altogether, it's a really sad situation. Well, maybe out there, they can, some conservatives, when they're done giving to anti-gay pizza places, maybe they can actually give to this guy's GoFundMe and actually do something nice for a change. I'd like to see that. I would like to see somebody come through for this guy because I don't like to see people's lives ruined. I don't. Especially for healthcare and especially for making a mistake.